a few days ago, the Kansas City Chiefs got some great news, partially thanks to this guy, the commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell. We'll tell you what that news is and more coming up in just a few moments on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Before we tell you what that good news is, we are trying to get to 57,500 subscribers on the channel. We are just over 100 away from reaching that next milestone. For our daily news and rumors, breaking news, live shows, Q&A mailbags, along with our watch parties throughout the season, you got to be subscribed to the Kansas City Chiefs Report for daily coverage you won't find anywhere else. Best part about it is absolutely 100% free to subscribe. Join the family. You'll be glad you did. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. This is big, folks. The NFL has approved allowing private equity to own up to 10% in NFL franchises and in multiple NFL franchises. This coming from ESPN's Adam Schefter a few days ago. This was just before the vote went down. A new NFL world. NFL owners will vote today on a proposal that will allow teams to sell up to a total of 10% of each team to a list of permitted private equity firms. Allowing teams to sell up to a total of 10% of each team to a list of permitted private equity firms is expected to be voted on and approved today, and it ultimately was approved. So, what does that mean? Well, let's tell you. Private equity can invest up to 10% ownership of teams. They cannot have more than that. They're not going to have a majority stake or anything like that, but up to 10%. Each fund can have ownership stakes in 6 teams. So let's say private equity, for example, wants to buy a portion of the Chiefs. And then they could, in theory, buy a portion of the Raiders and the Chargers and the Broncos and the Cowboys. And you get the idea. Teams can sell multiple stakes to different funds. So think about this. Each investment has to be at least 3%, so you could divvy up the pie between multiple private equity equations here. And on top of that, the other thing that is fascinating about this, all teams will still have to have a controlling owner at 30% is the number there. So even with that said, you're not going to be in a position where private equity is ever going to have full control of these teams, that there still has to be somebody calling the shots, if you will. Now, let me say this. When it comes to the Chiefs, now bringing this back home, Clark Hunt is never selling the Kansas City Chiefs. He is never giving up majority ownership. But there could be a world where he brings in some private equity to give a piece of the pie, that 10%, to get a cash flow. That's how this affects Kansas City. I would be very disappointed if Clark Hunt and the Hunt family ever gave up on the Kansas City Chiefs if they moved on. I hope Gracie one day is the Chiefs owner. I think she'd be fantastic. But even with that said, with the Chiefs looking to keep this dynasty going, the vibes have been good, right? 3 Super Bowls in the Mahomes era, going for a 3rd straight this year, 4 total, right? But if we look into what's going on behind the scenes, the Chiefs could look for some extra cash to make sure they shore up this thing, to put themselves in the best position possible when it comes to competing at the highest level, giving Patrick Mahomes and this franchise everything they could need, because Clark Hunt's track record says otherwise when it comes to what they've done off the field. We'll explain more in just a moment. Do you like the idea of private equity in the NFL? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, in for no. Chime in the comments section and weigh in. So as it stands right now, the Chiefs' value is about $6.07 billion. That's billion with a B, according to Forbes, just from a couple days ago, actually. And that number has doubled since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback in Kansas City. They have seen the value of this franchise skyrocket as of late. But here's where private equity could come in. Hear me out on this, folks. You may recall a few months ago when the NFLPA released their annual report card. And for the second straight year, the Kansas City Chiefs had a very bad report card from the NFLPA on how this organization is viewed amongst players from across the league. And you think about this, the Chiefs ranked 31st among 32 teams. Despite how successful this team has been on the football field, the lack thereof of resources and player treatment hasn't been there compared to other teams, which could make this team unattractive when you're trying to bring in potential players. Now, here's where private equity could factor in. Let's say Clark Hunt wants to bring in private equity. They could come in and help pay for things that Clark Hunt has refused, that he will not do, that he hasn't done. That's where private equity, you could say, we'll give you this stake in the team, but you got to take care of our bills here. You got to help us do these upgrades on these necessary things. Check this out from the NFLPA's report card this past year. The number one complaint when it comes to the facilities is the locker room. Though the players received actual chairs with backs to sit in at their lockers in response to last year's feedback, it didn't change the fact that the locker room is overdue for renovation. What adds to the frustration is that management told the players that renovations would come after the 2022 season. The players went on to win the Super Bowl, and when they arrived back at their facility for the 2023 through 2024 campaign, they realized the team never followed through with the promised renovation other than adding chairs. So whoop-de-doo on them. You added chairs. Gee, thanks. So Clark didn't hold up his end of the bargain. Whether it was a cost thing or a time thing or just mismanagement, it looks pretty bad. And that's not all, folks. Listen to this. The players' issue with quality of care is mostly centered around the training room. Players feel that the training room is significantly understaffed, which only 43% of the team responding that they get an adequate amount of one-on-one treatment time. Players feel that the staff is unwilling to provide the necessary treatment to support recovery and performance. For example, players are not allowed to get preventative treatment, soft tissue work, other care for soreness and day-to-day issues, a regular offering across the NFL. From the results, it is clear that there has not been a significant reinvestment back into the facilities, even after consistent success. That has led to a high level of frustration among player respondents and reflects in club owner Clark Hunt's ranking as the least willing to invest in team facilities among all NFL owners/ownership groups in the opinions of respondents. Look, I am a big fan of Clark Hunt. I think Clark's done an incredible job with putting this team in a position to succeed with what they've done to build around Patrick Mahomes. But if they want to keep this up, if they want to keep on bringing in big-time talent and keeping big-time talent and have this mantra, like you want to be a championship organization, you got to act like a championship organization. Look, we need Clark to invest in the proper facilities, the proper care to take care of the players and their families. And then you have a whole stadium situation to figure out that we'll get to here in just a moment. And private equity could be the solution that Clark Hunt is looking for right now. Do you believe in Clark Hunt? What do you think of the Chiefs owner? I've never asked this question from you guys. I'm very curious what you think. Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got it all, folks. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Here's how it works. Choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You see if you like that seat or not. Get the visual, and then you're checking out on Game Time. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time is very fast, simple, and easy, folks. You're going to love it. And they have their super deals. You don't want to pass up on a super deal, folks. They also have those seat views. That way you can make sure if you like that seat, if it's the right seat for you. And that's not all. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Let's hear from the commish, Roger Goodell, of what he had to say on private equity coming into the NFL. He said, this won't change a thing. This is 10% of a team. All it is a silent position that would allow access to capital for those teams that wish to offer 10% of their team. Now, Goodell, trying to make it sound better than what it actually is, he's downplaying it a bit. That's not completely true, Goodell. Goodell not being honest with us, imagine that. This could give some massive capital for teams to have that flexibility, have them in their back pocket. And think about this, all right? With how expensive these franchises are now, with private equity involved, also part of the equation, this is likely going to phase out ownership by individuals and shift completely to ownership groups. Now, the Hunt family is one of the richest families in the NFL, but even them and some of the others out there have got to be thinking to ourselves, all right, if we want to spend and put ourselves in the best position to succeed and have everything we need, we might need outside help like these private equity firms. And then the next question, as we kind of put a bow on all this, we sit here and ask ourselves, what does the future hold for where the Chiefs play next in the post-Arrowhead era, whether that's renovating Arrowhead or a new stadium in Kansas or Missouri, and the financial parts of that. Think about this. The Chiefs were hoping for $500 million in taxpayer money, in addition to the $300 million that the Hunt family was going to put in to renovate GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. Ultimately, they did not get approved for that said money. So, with that said, could private equity be the answer that the Chiefs are looking for to fund a new stadium, whether that's in Kansas or Missouri, whether it's a renovation or brand new stadium? Could that be the solution potentially the Chiefs are looking for? I think it's something on the table. And then where do they play from there? What do you guys think? Are you in favor of them staying in the state of Missouri, or would you like to see them come over to the Kansas side and join the folks over at Sporting KC or at Kansas Speedway over there at the Legends? What do you guys think? Type M for Missouri, K for Kansas. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Subscribe now to the Chiefs Report for continuing Chiefs coverage. Enjoy the football today, and we will see you next time here on the channel.